The battlefield looked like Onigashima after the war had already ended. Craters, flames, collapsed towers. But what if this time it was not Kaido or Big Mom lying broken at the center of the destruction? The first sign that something was horribly wrong was simple. Every straw hat was down. Bodies were scattered across the shattered ground. Nami and Usopp, unconscious near a cracked boulder. Jinbei on one knee, gasping. Robin and Frankie barely moving. Even Luffy himself lay sprawled in the rubble, eyes closed, steam fading from his body. And in the middle of this ruined arena, only two figures still stood, swaying, bleeding, refusing to fall. Roronoa Zoro and Vinsmoke Sanji. Their auras clashed like invisible blades. Zoro's swords were drawn, coated in haki, in the air around him humming with the same oppressive pressure that once split the sky against Kaido. Sanji's legs burned blue-white, Ifrit Jinbei igniting the ground with every step, his modified exoskeleton keeping him upright when any normal body would have already shattered. This was not a bickering cook and swordsman trading insults on the sunny. This was killing intent. By the end of Wano, these two were no longer just comedic rivals. They were Luffy's right and left wings, the monster trio refined into walking natural disasters. Zoro had just cut down King, a Lunarian first commander whose flames and durability pushed him to the brink, while poisoned, bandaged, and racing against time. Sanji had crushed Queen, a top all-star loaded with cyborg weapons and plague tech, without using his hands even once. Each had proven they could stand on a Yonko battlefield and not be instantly destroyed. So, in a world where no one is left to step between them, the question becomes brutally simple. If only one Straw Hat had to crawl out of this battlefield alive, who would it actually be? Just how much does Zoro's Advanced Conqueror's haki matter against Sanji's speed, regeneration, and hellfire? Whose body breaks first when the strongest versions of their abilities collide with genuine intent to kill? Because a true deathmatch between them would not just settle an argument, it would shatter the crew's future. Luffy would be forced into an impossible choice: stop his own wing with lethal force, or watch one of his closest partners die. The moment he fails, the legend of the future Pirate King twists into something darker. And the entire journey to Laugh Tale warps around that single fight. This video will push that scenario to its limit. From pre-time skip bar brawls to post-time skip tension, all the way to peak Wano, 3 full simulations will run. Early Zoro versus early Sanji, post-time skip pre-Wano, and their strongest Wano selves on a ruined Onigashima-style battlefield. Feats, psychology, and power will be dissected, then a definitive winner will be crowned, and the world that has to live with that outcome will be explored next. Setting the rules, how we actually decide who wins. To make this more than another bar counter argument, the war between Zoro and Sanji needs rules, not excuses, not headcanon, actual structure. Because the moment these two stop trading insults and start trading killing blows, every tiny detail on the battlefield starts to matter. So the breakdown will move through 3 distinct eras, almost like 3 separate simulations of the same duel. First, the Enies Lobby era, right before the time skip, when Zoro has Asura and Sanji is pushing Diable Jambe to its limit. Then the Dressrosa through Whole Cake into early Wano stretch, when both have new tools but no full awakening of their late Wano power. And finally, the post-King and post-Queen Wano era, when Zoro has Advanced Conqueror's haki, and Sanji has his exoskeleton and Ifrit Jinbei. Just how much does the outcome change as their abilities evolve? That is the spine of this analysis. But what if the nature of the fight itself changes the result? 2 different versions will be run. In the first, this is a heated crew argument that goes way too far. No Luffy, no Nami, no Robin to scream them back to their senses. They are furious, they are wounded, but some subconscious restraint still exists. In the second, all of that restraint is gone. This is a fully bloodlusted, no-holds-barred death match where both intend to destroy the other, even if it means dying seconds later. The final verdict will come from that lethal scenario because only there does their true ceiling appear. To judge those ceilings, the analysis has to stay chained to on-screen feats. Durability when Zoro tanks Hakai's aftermath and still rises to fight. Durability when Sanji's Germa-modified body shrugs off Queen's attacks that would annihilate normal commanders. Speed when Sanji disappears from Queen's sight. Speed when Zoro blitzes King while half-broken. Attack power when Advanced Conqueror's Haki tears through King's defenses. Attack power when Ifrit Jinbei melts steel and cybernetics. Their fighting styles clash directly: 3 blades and lethal range versus high-speed kicks, mid-air mobility, and improvisation. Over all of that sits their haki, their stamina, and their mental state. Because psychology decides when they hesitate and when they don't. Threaten Nami, threaten Robin, threaten Luffy, and both instantly flip into execution mode. The first sign that this is no longer a joke is when Zoro draws all 3 swords with killing intent, or when Sanji abandons his vow about never using his hands to strike an ally. Those emotional triggers will be woven into every era's simulation. The main endgame battlefield will be a ruined Onigashima-style island, shattered plateaus, broken towers, open skies, and enough verticality for Sanji to dominate the air while Zoro carves the ground into death zones. However, the script will briefly shift to the Thousand Sunny and tighter corridors, where range shrinks, ricochet angles change, and Sanji's mobility presses an entirely different advantage. And then there is the controversy. Oda calls them the right and left wings of the future Pirate King, which anchors them as comparable in power. But comparable does not mean equal. The crazy part was that once all 3 eras are played out under lethal conditions, one of those wings clearly cuts ahead in a real deathmatch, and not always the one most fans expect. The next section begins the first simulation, back when NES Lobby Zoro and Sanji still thought this rivalry was just another day at war. Right wing versus left wing, breaking down their core. Power Set's Enies Lobby was the first time their rivalry looked like it could actually destroy the crew from the inside. But to understand what happens when Zoro and Sanji stop arguing and start going for the kill, the battlefield has to be stripped down to the basics. What does each wing really bring when the Pirate King isn't there to pull them back? Zoro is the right wing, the executioner. 3 sword style isn't just a gimmick. It's a system built to turn his entire body into a guillotine. From the moment he took Mihawk's slash at Buriti and refused to fall, the series framed him as a monster of raw power and pain tolerance. By Wano, that monster had fully awakened. Advanced armament lets him drive cutting force deep through steel, stone, and dragon scales. And while Advanced Conqueror's Haki coats his blades in an invisible aura that splits the sky and shreds anything in his path without even touching it, his role is clear. When the war reaches its peak, Zoro is the one who ends it. Sanji is the left wing, the shield that moves. The black leg style, with its refusal to use hands, forces him to fight like a human jet engine. Thanks to his new ability to walk on air and water with Skywalk and Blue Walk, Sanji turns any battlefield into his personal 3-dimensional playground. The first sign that he wasn't just a support kicked in with whole cake, but Wano revealed the truth. The Germa-modified exoskeleton finally awakened, giving him insane durability, regeneration, and a body that can handle heat and impact far beyond human limits. Diable Jambe, once a flaming finisher, he only evolved into Ifrit Jinbei, compressing that power into faster, hotter, more precise strikes. Add the raid suit's stealth and invisibility, even if he rejects the suit itself, and his intended role becomes obvious: protector, flanker, and tactical support who keeps allies alive while hunting openings. On pure Haki, Zoro is ahead. Advanced armament and Conqueror's coding turn every clash into a lethal verdict, letting him cut through near-impossible defenses like Kaido's scales and King's Lunarian resilience. Sanji's Haki is quieter, but still terrifying in the right hands. His observation lets him read intent and trajectories, while his armament, layered over the exoskeleton, creates a living armor that can tank Queen's lasers and crushing blows without breaking. Just how much punishment can he take while still blitzing around the field? Tat's durability and stamina define the gap in mentality. Zoro accepts damage that should end entire careers. Mihawk's chest scar, Kuma's nothing happened at Thriller Bark, the rooftop tremors with Kaido and Big Mom, and a drugged, time-limited duel against King where every second bled him dry. Sanji, by contrast, survives through evolution. The exoskeleton and regeneration let him keep moving at absurd speed, trading traditional tanking for constant motion and recovery. And that sets up the true clash of styles. Zoro is a walking guillotine whose clean hit can destroy the entire fight in one swing. Sanji is an untouchable blur who wins by never letting that swing land. But what if the arena shrinks, the stakes spike, and both are forced to press their strongest abilities at once? The next section answers that. Starting with the first real what if on the sea train's shadow. Enies lobby, no jokes, no Luffy, no breaks. Enies lobby era. If Luffy never showed up on that rooftop, Enies lobby is where that question stops being fun. The sea train smoke hasn't even cleared. The world government flag is burning, and the Straw Hats are standing on that rooftop with Robin's life on the line. Zoro and Sanji are already snapping at each other, bruised, bleeding, and exhausted from CP9. But what if Luffy never lands on that roof? What if the usual joke doesn't cut the tension this time? Robin is still in chains. The Buster Call cannons are already roaring in the distance. Sanji throws one insult too many about Zoro being dead weight or risking Robin's fate. The moment he calls Zoro a liability, something shifts. Zoro's aura stops feeling like a crewmate's. It feels like an enemy's. The first sign is subtle. Hand on Watto's hilt, eyes narrowed, no grin, no banter. He isn't arguing anymore, he's choosing a target. Up to Ania's lobby, Zoro's entire track record screams lethality. He walked through Mr. One's blades and figured out how to cut steel mid-battle. He clashed with Kaku's rank Yaku Zu, tanking those flying slashes while adapting to a brand new 3-sword style upgrade. His body is already a battlefield of scars because he treats pain as a fee, not a warning. He doesn't need Haki or any awakening to destroy someone. His entire ability set is built around ending fights in one clean, decisive cut. Sanji at this point is a different creature. He has speed, creativity, hawk and raw kicking power that can fold iron doors and shatter Tekai users when he lands clean. His Diable Jambe is new, wild, and brutal, igniting his leg to cook Jabra through his defenses. But his durability is still human. No exoskeleton, no Germa awakening, no late-game regeneration. Emotionally, he is a live wire. Threaten Nami or Robin, and he goes from strategist to berserker, which boosts his aggression but clouds his judgment at the worst time. So, how does the rooftop duel actually unfold? At first, Sanji looks like he can hang. He dodges, weaves, and punishes Zoro's missed swings with sharp counters to the ribs and jaw. The air is full of tremors from clashing kicks and blades, like a tiny war on top of Enia's lobby. But Zoro is built for trading damage, not avoiding it. Just how much does that matter in a death match? That every time Sanji scores, Zoro reads a little more of his rhythm. The crazy part was that the tone only needs one moment to flip. One cut. Zoro finally clips Sanji's thigh or side and blood sprays across the stone. That's the first sign this isn't an argument anymore, it's survival. Sanji feels his speed drop, his stance wobble. Zoro doesn't hesitate. He presses in, 3 blades drawing shrinking circles around Sanji's options. Sanji's lack of killing intent becomes his downfall. He still pulls angles that avoid Zoro's heart, still kicks with just enough restraint to not crush a crewmate's skull. Zoro does the opposite. He aims for tendons, lungs, arteries. In a real deathmatch, Enies lobby Zoro almost certainly wins. And it isn't pretty. Deep sword wounds tear through a body that cannot withstand them yet. Even if Sanji lives, the crew doesn't walk away from that rooftop the same. And that's the important part. This era is brutally one-sided, but it doesn't stay that way. Because the next time the war between wings flares, Sanji's entire body and his power won't be the same creature that fell on Enies lobby's roof. Climbing the Grand Line. When does Sanji stop being outclassed? That creature doesn't awaken overnight. It climbs the Grand Line one arc at a time, always chasing a swordsman who refuses to slow down. Post Enies lobby, the war between wings is still brutally simple. Zoro is the executioner. Sanji is the scalpel. Thriller Bark proves it instantly. Zoro unveils Asura, a 9-sword killing aura that terrifies even someone like Kaku in hindsight. The moment he steps in front of Kuma and takes on all of Luffy's pain, the gap stops being theoretical and becomes physical. Those body-wide tremors, the way he stays standing in a pool of his own blood, tell the crew exactly who survives a deathmatch. What does Sanji get in that same stretch? Incremental growth. Stronger Diable Jambe, sharper technique, better use of speed and angles. He outplays opponents like Absalom and later duels through Sabaodi's chaos. But nothing he shows there would destroy a monster like Oars the way Zoro's raw power threatens to. The first sign is clear. In a straight battlefield execution, Zoro's lethality and durability are on an entirely different tier. Then the time skip hits, and the board resets. But not evenly. Zoro disappears into Mihawk's fortress and spends 2 years under the strongest swordsman's shadow. He comes back cleaving ships, casually one-shotting giant opponents and treating steel like paper. His cutting power and armament haki feel like an awakening of everything teased at Enies lobby. Sanji's path is stranger. Kamabaka Kingdom forges his mentality and gives him new abilities. Skywalk, Blue Walk, upgraded Diablo Hambe. Thanks to his new ability to move through the air and across the sea, his role as the crew's mobile striker and rescuer explodes. But what if that same mobility is hiding a problem? In a duel where both combatants stand their ground and trade, Zoro's aura of inevitability still looks heavier. Dressrosa hammers that home. Zoro dismantles Pika so casually it feels unfair, slicing through an entire mountain-sized body while barely taking damage. His haki, range, and composure broadcast future Yonko commander to the entire battlefield. This Sanji, on the other hand, clashes with Doflamingo and gets overwhelmed. He is forced into support roles, evacuations, and countermeasures instead of decisive finishes. Just how much does that shape the perception of who would walk away from a serious clash? Whole Cake Island finally tilts the camera. Sanji is emotionally broken, forced into a political war instead of a clean fight. Yet this is where Oda plants the bomb. Germa lineage, genetic modifications, a body that begins to move differently, tank differently, respond differently. The crazy part was that his exoskeleton does not fully awaken yet, but the narrative quietly lays the rails for a monstrous power spike. So when does Sanji stop being outclassed in a straight, serious fight? The answer is harsh. Until Wano? Out until that exoskeleton fully awakens and his entire frame catches up to his speed and fire. Zoro's blend of brute strength, haki, and killing intent keeps him clearly ahead in a deathmatch scenario. The real shift only begins when Sanji's body finally becomes the weapon Judge engineered, and Wano turns that theory into scars. Because once King and Queen fall, the war between wings is not the same conflict anymore. Pattern break. What if the crew forced them to settle it? Because once King and Queen fall, the war between wings is not the same conflict anymore. Up to that point, it's background noise, a running joke on the Sunny. After Wano, it's pressure, it's expectation. And that is exactly where a different kind of nightmare can begin. But what if the crew stopped treating it as a joke? It's not a random shouting match in the kitchen, not a punch pulled at the last second, but a line that finally gets crossed. Imagine a failed mission where a civilian almost dies because Zoro vanished on the wrong path, and Sanji broke formation to protect someone Luffy never ordered him to save. The argument doesn't explode into a brawl. Instead, the entire ship goes quiet, and the crew decides they cannot let this simmer anymore. The first sign that this isn't business as usual is Luffy himself. He hates choosing between them. He hates rules, yet here, as captain, he is forced to act. He lays down a simple structure on the deck like it's any other spar. No killing, no outside interference. Stop the moment one of them can't stand. He thinks it will clear the air. He thinks they will punch it out, laugh, and eat meat together afterward. Then he does not understand just how much pride has been building since Enies lobby, since Whole Cake, since Wano. Around them, the Sunny becomes a battlefield without a single cannon firing. Nami stands closest to Sanji's side, jaw clenched because she knows he will burn himself alive before letting her see him lose. Usopp can feel Zoro's killing aura leaking out the moment he touches his swords, and every instinct tells him this is the same presence that cut down Mr. One and sliced through Kaido's scales. Robin doesn't shout, doesn't plead. She watches the ideological fracture forming, wondering what happens to a crew when its two strongest wings stop seeing each other as partners and start seeing an enemy. Jinbei, who has seen actual war, understand the truth most clearly. If these two go too far, the damage to morale will not heal with bandages. Then there is the psychological shift. Being watched should make things safer. Instead, it destroys restraint. Neither can look weak in front of Luffy. Neither wants to be the wing that folds. The moment the first hit lands and blood actually spills, the spar label evaporates. Every kick from Sanji is no longer just a test. It is Ifrit Jinbei trying to destroy Zoro's guard. Every clash of steel is Zoro's advanced conqueror's haki flaring, his aura screaming that he refuses to be second. The crazy part was that a controlled duel only looks safe on paper. Post-Wano, When exoskeleton and speed meet black lightning slashes, the deck itself would start to crack under invisible tremors of Haki. Who steps in when advanced conquerors Haki and Ifrit Jinbei finally collide? But Luffy thinks he can stop them, until he realizes this is not a joke anymore, and pulling them apart might be the hardest battle on the entire sea. Wano power creep. Zoro unlocks Demon King. Sanji becomes a monster. So when Wano hits its peak, their rivalry mutates into something else. This is no longer cook versus swordsman on a sunny deck. This is two evolving weapons being forged in the same war, on the same flaming battlefield, until their auras feel strong enough to destroy the entire island if they ever truly collide. Zoro's leap starts on the rooftop. The moment he cuts through Kaido's scales with Asura, he proves his slashes can wound a creature the Yonko themselves treat like an unkillable dragon. He intercepts Hakai, the combined attack of two emperors, and survives only thanks to Law's ability. But the impact alone would have erased almost any other commander. Then comes Enma. That sword drags Haki out of his body, forces him to confront his own limits, and becomes the catalyst for his awakening. In One Piece, Haki evolution is usually gradual. With Zoro, the first sign of something different is that black lightning crackling off his blades. He stops just coating his swords and starts coating the air itself. Advanced Conqueror's Haki turns every serious swing into a commander-killing attack, the kind of slash that can split the battlefield, bypass defenses, and leave opponents broken without even touching them directly. Then, Zoro is thrown straight into hell against King. He enters that battle already poisoned, bones damaged, time literally ticking down on his life. King, a Lunarian, shrugs off slashes that would have ended most pirates, flies at blinding speeds, and tanks explosions like a monster. But what if Zoro couldn't crack that defense? He solves it mid-fight. He deciphers the flame-on, flame-off mechanic, reads King's speed and durability shifts, and adjusts his style on the fly. Even with his body failing, he overpowers a first commander whose durability was treated as absurd even by Wano standards, cementing himself as a true Yonko commander-level threat. On the other side of Onigashima, Sanji is going through a different awakening. The crazy part was that his power-up does not come from training, but from blood. The first sign is his body breaking and instantly repairing. Bones snap back into place. Blades bend instead of cutting. Bullets bounce off his skin like pebbles. And the Germa exoskeleton finally activates, and with it comes a terrifying question. Is he becoming the same kind of experiment as his brothers? That internal war is just as important as the external one. Sanji rejects losing his emotions but accepts the new baseline of durability and physicality. Thanks to his new ability, he can move faster, hit harder, and tank punishment that would have put pre-Wano Sanji in the hospital for weeks. Queen becomes the perfect test. Lasers, invisibility, plague bullets, mechanical limbs, raw brute strength. Sanji dismantles all of it without using his hands once. Then he debuts Ifrit Jinbei. Hotter, faster, more concentrated flames, boosted by the exoskeleton and enhanced Haki, let him burn through Queen's metal and armor like paper. His kicks now carry enough power to destroy heavily fortified targets and overwhelm a top all-star in a straight duel. At this point, both wings of the Pirate King stand on terrifying new plateaus. Zoro's peak destructive output and Haki quality look higher. Sanji's speed, mobility, and durability create a different kind of nightmare. Just how much damage would a serious one-on-one do now, when black lightning clashes with blue-white hellfire, and neither man intends to back down? Because the next scenario pushes them past friendly rivalry, past crew scuffles, and into a simulated kill or be killed battlefield, where even Luffy's voice might not reach them in time. Final arena, rules of the post-Wano deathmatch. So, to make this more than a power scaling argument, the battlefield itself has to feel like a war, not a ship deck, not a casual spar, but a destroyed kingdom floating in the sky echoing Onigashima after the raid. Craters tear through the ground where past clashes landed. Broken towers lean at impossible angles, and shattered horn-like peaks stab into the clouds. There's enough open space for Zoro's long-range slashes to carve through the air, and enough vertical freedom for Sanji to vanish into the sky and reappear like a blue-white comet. But what if the ruins do more than look cool? Every collapsed pagoda becomes cover for Sanji's angles, every broken bridge a launch pad. The moment Zoro swings a flying dragon slash, It doesn't just cut stone. It rips through entire streets, sending debris spiraling. That same debris becomes Sanji's stepping stones, letting him chain skywalk, stealth bursts, and Ifrit jinbei dives from every direction. The battlefield turns into a three-dimensional maze where one man rules the ground and the other rules the air. To push them into a real deathmatch, the trigger has to be cruel. An enemy with whole cake level manipulation weaponizes Sanji's heart again, hijacking his body and forcing him to attack the crew, this time leaving real, bloody damage on someone like Usopp or Nami. At the same time, Zoro has just walked out of another nothing happened sacrifice. The kind of ordeal that leaves him barely standing, but completely resolved. In his mind, there's only one rule. Any threat to Luffy's dream gets cut down, even if that threat wears a straw hat. So when the control breaks and Sanji regains himself, the battlefield is already scarred by his own kicks. He is staring at the burns, the broken bones, the fear in his family's eyes. He is drowning in guilt and rage, desperate to prove that the man standing here is still Sanji, not Germa's weapon. That desperation can sharpen his focus into a lethal, surgical fighting style, or it can create the one fatal hesitation Zoro cannot afford to show. Zoro walks in with full killing intent. No cigarettes, no jokes, no half-drawn blades. Advanced Conqueror's haki crackles around him in black lightning, his aura pressing on the entire island like a physical weight. He has already decided, if Sanji cannot be trusted near Luffy's back, then the right wing will destroy the left, no matter the cost. There are no crew members to jump between them. No Yonko timer, no external enemies. Just two monsters with complete access to their strongest abilities. Zoro can enter Asura, coat his blades in advanced Kyoc, Tias and push his body the same way he did against King, ignoring broken bones and torn muscles. Sanji can ignite Ifrit jinbei, rely on his Germa exoskeleton, and use stealth speed that even Queen struggled to track. Victory is simple and brutal. One of them cannot move anymore. Dead or fully incapacitated, both are willing to tear their bodies apart the way they already have against external enemies. The crazy part was that this time the war is not for the world's balance, it is for the soul of the crew. As the dust settles over that ruined island and the first sign of black lightning meets blue-white flames, the only real question left is this. When the strongest wings finally clash without restraint, whose body breaks first? Because now the stage is set, the rules are clear, and the next step is to watch this simulated deathmatch play out blow by blow. Opening exchanges, speed versus killing intent. The black lightning and blue-white flames don't wait. They rush each other. At mid-range, Zoro's hand is already on Wato's hilt, that killing aura rolling off him like a pressure wave. Sanji's heel scrapes the stone, sparks erupt, and in the same breath his leg explodes into Diablo Jambo Blue. No joke, no insults, just the first sign that this is a war, not an argument. The opening clash is clean and brutal. Zoro draws one blade, then two, then three, steel howling as he carves a diagonal arc that would destroy an entire squad of normal fighters. Sanji doesn't try to contest the line of the cut. He vanishes upward, skywalk, detonating the air, reappearing at Zoro's blind angle with a flaming heel screaming down toward his temple. The moment he commits, the battlefield shrinks to a circle of death only they can read. Early on, speed belongs to Sanji. Thanks to his new ability, his footwork is chaos. He chains skywalk and blue walk, bouncing off invisible footholds, kicking off shockwaves, coming in from above, behind, then below. Rapid-fire strikes slam into Zoro's ribs, hip, then knee, each one angled to twist his stance and kill his base before any big technique can charge. One clean hit snaps Zoro's head sideways, another hammers his sword arm, a third digs into the same rib that Kaido shattered. But what if Sanji's early success is exactly what Zoro wants? Zoro plants his feet and starts using his body as armor and sensor at the same time. He lets some kicks land on purpose, muscles tensing at the last second, haki hardening just enough to keep bones from shattering. He feels the difference between Diable and Ifrit in the way the flames bite into his skin, the way the tremors travel through his exoskeleton-reinforced flesh. Every impact gives him data, startup frames, recovery, the micro delay before Sanji reverses direction. That's when the slashes change. At first, they're simple arcs, meant to tag a moving target. Then Zoro starts coating them. Armament first, black steel stretching the range, then threads of Conqueror's lightning crawling along the blades. Suddenly, even a small swing sends a compressed shockwave screaming across the battlefield. Sanji can't treat this like a normal brawl anymore. One misread, and in a casual probing cut becomes a killing line that bisects the sky. Sanji leans fully into observation. His pupils tighten, breath slows, and he begins slipping past blades by less than a hair. A twist of the ankle, a bend of the spine, a skywalk step that looks suicidal until the slash passes where his head was a heartbeat ago. Just how much longer can he dance around attacks that once scarred Kaido? By the end of this first phase, both are paying the price. Zoro's torso is a map of bruises and burns, each breath scraping against damaged ribs. Sanji's leg bones and exoskeleton creak from repeated Ifrit-level output, hairline stress building with every clash of flame against hockey-hardened steel. The crazy part was that both of them know this is still the warm-up. Because the moment Zoro stops collecting data and Sanji stops holding back on his highest gear, this measured exchange turns into something else entirely. A killing race between a swordsman's one decisive cut and a kicker's final all-or-nothing combination. When monsters stop holding back, Asura versus Ifrit Jinbei. This is where the rivalry stops being funny. This is where both wings of the Pirate King throw away the brakes and reach for the strongest versions of themselves. The first sign is subtle. Zoro's guard shifts, his shoulders drop, and that lazy, half-bored stare disappears. The moment he understands that Sanji's flames and exoskeleton will not crack from half measures, his aura changes. The air around him darkens, pressure rolling out like invisible tremors across the ruined battlefield. Then it happens. Asura, 9 blades, 3 faces, extra arms and heads, blooming from his silhouette like a demon awakening in the middle of a war. But what if Asura in Wano isn't just an illusion of killing intent anymore? With advanced Conqueror's coating, those spectral blades carry real weight. Black lightning crawling along each edge, ready to destroy anything they touch. Sanji feels it before he sees it. His steps get heavier. Every dodge takes more effort, as if the air itself is turning against him. So he answers the only way he can, by setting his own limit on fire. Ifrit Jinbei roars to life, but this time it is not just orange heat. Blue-white flames coil around his legs, so hot the shattered stone under his feet starts to melt. Thanks to his new ability, the modified exoskeleton and regeneration kick into overdrive, constantly repairing muscle fibers that tear from the strain of moving at this speed. His kicks stop being readable arcs. They become blurs. Now the clash is simple and terrifying. Coated steel against engineered bone. Every time Zoro swings, Conqueror's haki rides the blades, turning casual slashes into compressed shockwaves that bite deeper into Sanji's legs and ribs, even through armament and exoskeleton. Just how much punishment can that Germa body take before the internal damage outpaces the healing? At the same time, every Ifrit-enhanced kick that lands sends a violent jolt through Zoro's stance, threatening to crack bones, twist joints, and disrupt his rhythm even through hardened haki. Zoro refuses to let the duel stay close range. One sweeping motion, and the battlefield itself becomes his ally. Flying slashes carve trenches through the ground and shear off broken towers, forcing Sanji into predictable dodge lanes. But the crazy part was that Sanji thrives in chaos. He turns verticality into a weapon, springboarding off falling debris, vanishing into Zoro's blind spots, then reappearing with brutal combo kicks aimed at the neck, ribs, and sword arm. The first major turning point comes in a single, horrifying exchange. Sanji reads a telegraphed horizontal slash, plants his foot in midair, and dives straight through the opening. 3 consecutive Ifrit Jinbei strikes crash into Zoro's side and jaw, detonating on impact. Zoro is sent skidding, boots furrowing the ground, blood spilling from his mouth. But he does not fall. Instead, he plants Wado, drags the other 2 blades across it, guides and unleashes a Conqueror-coated Asura slash that rips straight through Sanji's guard. Exoskeleton cracks, blood sprays. For the first time, both of them are clearly damaged. And the terrifying question now is this: when neither monster can hold back anymore, which one breaks first in the next exchange? Breaking points. Who actually falls? First, the first sign that this isn't a playful rivalry anymore is the silence. No bickering, no insults. Just 2 monsters breathing hard, blood dripping onto a shattered battlefield that looks closer to Onigashima than the Sunny's deck. From here, it becomes a question of who breaks first. Not in spirit, in body. Zoro has a proven history of fighting through wounds that should have destroyed him. Taking all of Luffy's pain at Thriller Bark, pushing through Mihawk's scar, out-tanking Hakkai's shockwaves, and still standing long enough to awaken advanced Conqueror's haki against King. His endurance is already absurd, but with that Conqueror-coated aura on his blades, every swing now carries a cost for both of them. Sanji's side is different. Thanks to his new ability, that Germa-modified exoskeleton, his body has awakened into something that can naturally regenerate and tank hits that would have snapped his pre-time skip bones. Queen's lasers, plagues, and raw power failed to put him down. He can move faster, kick harder, and withstand tremors of impact that would flatten normal fighters. But what if those impacts are repeatedly infused with advanced Conqueror's haki designed to bypass external durability? That's where the gap opens. Zoro's slashes don't just cut flesh anymore, they attack the inside. Each clash sends invisible shockwaves through Sanji's organs, building internal damage the exoskeleton cannot fully cancel. Just how much punishment can a modified body take when every exchange is shaving off seconds of consciousness? Psychologically, the war is already over. Zoro fights with straightforward killing intent. The moment he decides this is a death match, his entire world narrows to one command: cut down the man in front of him for the sake of Luffy's dream. No restraint, no doubt. Sanji, even at his angriest, carries emotional breaks. He hates his Germa side. He refuses to kill his Nakama. That split-second hesitation when he sees Zoro barely standing, ribs exposed, could be the difference between finishing the job and holding back just enough. Then comes the critical exchange. Both understand the next clash ends it, and Sanji lights his legs with Ifrit Jinbei, blue flames roaring, body vanishing into pure speed, as he commits to an all-in rush that aims to destroy Zoro's entire guard in one overwhelming combo. Zoro plants his feet, draws every last shred of haki, and calls forth Asura, a final, fully charged, Conqueror-coated slash. He accepts that he will be hit. He welcomes it, as long as his own attack lands. The crazy part was that they both connect. Bones shatter, swords carve through flame. Zoro's peak offensive output proven against King bites into Sanji in a way the exoskeleton cannot fully mitigate. Sanji might be the first to fall, body carved open, consciousness slipping even as Zoro drops to one knee, vision fading. In a pure deathmatch, Zoro wins by landing the fight-ending blow first. But in any real Straw Hat scenario, where both hold back even a fraction, this doesn't end with a clean kill. It ends with both collapsed, the crew in shock, and Luffy forced to decide whether this awakening of their rivalry is something he can ever allow again. If one wing breaks, how Luffy and the crew shatter. Both collapsed on the ground should have been the wake-up call, but what if Luffy didn't get that mercy? What if he opened his eyes and only one wing of the Pirate King was still standing? The moment Luffy understands what happened, the entire battlefield of his heart shatters. Rage hits first. No logic, no captain's composure, just raw instinct. He sees Zoro with blood on his swords, or Sanji with a burning leg and a broken silhouette at his feet, and his body moves before his brain catches up. Gear 5th flashes. Conqueror's haki erupts. And for a terrifying instant, he is ready to destroy the survivor with the same power he used against Kaido. How do you tell Luffy that one Nakama killing another is something he has to accept? Then the tremors slow. Grief crashes in. Reality forces its way through that white-hot aura. This is not Marineford. This is not a war against the world. This is his own crew. The first sign that Luffy is still Luffy is when his fist stops inches from Zoro's face or Sanji's chest, shaking, teeth clenched, eyes overflowing. He does not forgive. He cannot process. He just collapses between them, screaming at a sky that does not answer. Around him, the Straw Hats fracture. Nami loses the man who threw himself between her and danger every time without hesitation. No more Sanji catching her when she falls. No more effortless protection in every battle. When she blames the killer, she blames Luffy for not stopping it, and worst of all, she blames herself for ever laughing off their rivalry. Chopper kneels beside the body, hands soaked, replaying every medical decision. With all that knowledge, all that awakening of his own ability, he still failed to save a Nakama. that guilt does not fade. Usopp looks at Zoro if Zoro is the one who walks away, and something fundamental breaks. This is the man who once asked Zoro to knock him out so he would not run. Now he has to ask a different question. If Zoro could destroy Sanji, what chance does a sniper have if he ever steps out of line? Robin watches the ideology of the crew crack. These were the strongest wings of the future Pirate King, and even they could not keep their dream from turning inward. Jinbei feels the war inside the Sunny more than any Marineford battlefield. He tries to hold everyone together, but the aura of trust is gone. And the world? The world turns this tragedy into legend. Stories spread of a crew so strong their own wings fought to the death. Rumors say the Pirate King's right hand killed his left, or the other way around. Bounty posters do not just represent power anymore. They carry whispers of betrayal and madness. Just how much more terrifying does a captain look when even his closest monsters could not coexist? The survivor does not walk away unchanged. If Zoro lives, he becomes colder, more ruthless. The swordsman who already awakened Conqueror's haki, now wielding it like a wall between himself and everyone else. He failed to keep his blade sheathed against a Nakama once, so he vows never to let anything threaten Luffy's dream again, no matter how brutal he has to become. If Sanji is the one who wins through impossible speed and a perfect counter that exploits even Zoro's haki, he drowns in self-hatred. The exoskeleton that once felt like an unwanted Germa curse now feels like the monster that killed his brother-in-arms. He overprotects everyone, refuses to let anyone else stain their hands, and cooks like a man serving last meals. Flip the outcome, and the details change, but the catastrophe does not. Whether it is Zoro standing over Sanji, or Sanji standing over Zoro, the Straw Hat aura is broken. This is the kind of battle that does not just end an argument. It rewrites the entire story of the Pirate King's crew. So who wins really? A final verdict and your timeline. And that is the point where the who wins debate stops being funny and starts feeling like the opening shot of a civil war inside the Sunny. So after walking through their entire journey, where does the scale actually tip? Who crawls out of that battlefield when the dust and blood finally settle? First, the timeline. Pre-time skip? The answer is brutal and simple. In a real death match, Zoro destroys Sanji. This is the Zoro who takes Mihawk's slash, takes Kuma's pain, and still stands. Sanji's kicks are dangerous, his heart is huge, but his body and haki are not ready for that kind of war. The moment Zoro decides this is kill or be killed, the cook falls first. Then comes the mid-game, from Sabaody through Whole Cake and early Wano. Zoro is still ahead, but the gap starts to shake. Sanji's Diable Jambe evolves, his tactical ability explodes, and his observation, haki, and mobility let him dance around opponents that would have crushed his old self. Yet Zoro is pushing toward the strongest swordsman on the sea, stacking armament, endurance, and sheer killing intent. Sanji can force a high-diff fight here, but the sword still reaches the neck before the flames break the blades. Post-Wano is where the tremors really start. Thanks to his new ability, Sanji's exoskeleton and Ifrit Jambe turn him into a blue-flamed monster, while Zoro awakens advanced Conqueror's haki and cuts down King with his own aura blazing. At this point, it is no longer a clean gap. It is a war of inches. Every kick that lands can destroy bone. Every slash that lands can end a career. And just how much punishment can each body take when both are fighting like this is their last night under Luffy's flag? So the final verdict is this. In a true no-holds-barred deathmatch, current timeline, Zoro is more likely to win. Not because Sanji is weak, but because Zoro's entire identity is built around walking into impossible injuries and still swinging. His offensive ceiling is higher. His advanced Conqueror's haki turns each strike into a guillotine, and his psychology is wired for finish the enemy in a way Sanji resists until the last second. But what if the fight is not pure bloodlust? The crazy part was that most realistic crew scenarios never let it reach that point. In a serious argument on the Sunny or on an Onigashima-style battlefield, Sanji's refusal to kill and Zoro's buried loyalty twist the clash into something messier. Double knockouts, Luffy diving in, Nami screaming them back to their senses before the final blow lands. So now, build your own timeline. What arc do you think Sanji first has the tools to actually beat Zoro? What emotional trigger makes it the most tragic? How would you choreograph the last exchange? One final Asura swing? Or one last Ifrit Jambe kick that shatters steel? Drop your version of the war in the comments and call your winner. Then, if this breakdown shook your view of the monster trio, get ready for the next hypotheticals. Zoro versus Jinbei in a pure technique duel, Sanji versus Katakuri in an observation hockey showdown, or an all-out monster trio free-for-all that tears the entire battlefield apart. Subscribe, and tell exactly which what-if battle should be dissected next. Because the first sign that a crew is legendary is when even their worst possible futures are worth watching to the very end.